Hey everybody, morning. Yeah, we're about to embark on the greatest show on earth. At least from my perspective. We get some of the biggest moves. Today is the day for Tesla earnings. Netflix fireworks did not disappoint. Morning, everybody. Looks like we got Lieutenant Colonel Goose in the house. We've got my Robinhood account firing off some sort of alerts. That's cool. Love that. What's going on? Let's see. What just fired off? A bunch of alerts. Looks like Mara is having a Q&A. Interesting. That was like 3 alerts to join the invite for Mara. All right. Cool. Whatever. All right. So we got Dan, Arturo, Donald, Don, Craig, Logan, Terry, Will, Mad, Serge, David, Sedona, Life is Good, Frank, Jason, Ed, Cliff, Hugh, Ted, Svenborn, all the way from Iceland. Welcome, everybody. Morning. Gabba Monster, regular white monster. Seems to be some, I guess, superstition around the power of the white monster. I can only drink the same flavor a couple days in a row, then I gotta change it up. I can't drink the same flavor every day. Anyway, morning and welcome to the show. It's that time once again. Right now, we get it 4 times a year. It's magical, it's terrifying, roller coaster of a day that comes around every 3 months. That's right. Tesla earnings. Today after the bell, the great and powerful Elon will descend from his Martian-bound rocket layer in Texas. I love the way this wrote this. And deliver the sacred reportings. And by this all, we mean the Q3 financial results for Tesla. As a result, the market, kind of holding its breath on Tesla right now. The options market, our friendly neighborhood casino, pricing in like a $33 swing up or down. This could get interesting. Anyway, that's as if you haven't been coming to Market Masters, Jack and I break this down, and Jack is a former market maker. And he really kind of spells it out there. A lot of the superstitions around market makers and market maker moves and this and that and the other and things you hear, it's kind of bullshit. And Jack breaks it down like the real deal. So when you sell the at the money straddle, like you go with the bid on the call and go with the bid on the put and create the order, right now that's 33 bucks. So the market maker is pricing in a $33 swing. But that's kind of like the CYA, cover your amount of money. For a market maker, price. They want price to stay in there. They're like, price stays in that, we're good. We sell this at the money straddle for that, we're good. We can cover whatever happens. So that's a 7.25% percentage point move, 7.25. No big deal, right? Just another Wednesday for Tesla. But here's the fun part. A little historical tidbit that keeps us, potential bears warm at night if you're that way. 70% of the time, Tesla stock drops after earnings. 70% of the time. And we're not just talking a little dip. We're talking an average of 14% over a 6-day period. So, place your bets accordingly. That's a bigger move than what's priced in. Of course, that's over a 6-day period, not by this Friday. Now, let's set the stage for this quarter's drama. On the surface, everything's looking pretty banging. Tesla delivered a record-breaking 497,000 cars in Q3. This is a new high score. What's that mean? New high score. Did we break it? They're selling cars like pancakes. If you're IHOP, I guess. The Bulls are cheering. The confetti, it was flying. But this is where the story takes a turn. You see the magician pulling the rabbit out of the hat. Well, as always, there's misdirection at play. Those record sales, they were goosed by the expiring EV tax credit. Buyers rushed to get their hands on a discounted Tesla before the government stopped paying part of the bill. And to further sweeten the deal, Tesla has been slashing prices like a desperate car salesman at the end of the month. They even rolled out a new standard model of the Model Y and Model 3, which are $5,000 cheaper, but seems like a lackluster effort. How, you ask? Well, they just took stuff out. Stuff that you might want. No more ventilated seats, no more power folding mirrors. They even took out the pockets on the back of the seats. It's kind of like buying a nice luxury car and getting the Spirit Airlines experience. And this is where the plot thickens. While Tesla is selling more cars than ever, they're making less money on each one. The once legendary profit margin that couldn't be touched is getting squeezed tighter than a short seller's. Well, you get the idea. And why? Because the competition has finally started to catch up. Company that goes by BYD in China has actually surpassed Tesla in global EV sales. They're kind of taking market share away from Tesla in Europe, and they're not alone. The Chinese EV market is a shark tank, and Tesla's starting to look a little bit, dare I say, like the BlackBerry of EVs. Gotta love that keyboard, right? So, what's a visionary CEO do when his core business is showing signs of trouble? Sell the dream, baby. Live in the dream. You pivot. You talk about anything and everything but the car business. And that's exactly what we're going to hear on this earnings call. Get ready for the AI symphony. We're going to hear about robotaxis and AI rollouts, and they're going to create a multi-trillion-dollar market on Optimus robots. We're going to hear about all sorts of things. That Optimus, the friendly neighborhood robot that's going to do your laundry, walk your dog, supposedly maybe a $9 trillion market. Never mind that Optimus is reportedly not quite performing the way they thought. They've already abandoned their 2025 projection targets. Details, you say. But they did place a large order for robot parts, so we'll see if that plays out. And of course, the full self-driving, which is always just one software update away from being complete. You know, the same self-driving that drove me here today. But it's also currently under federal investigation for sometimes crashing. But hey, as one particularly bullish analyst from Wedbush says, the autonomous part of Tesla alone is worth $1 trillion. $1 trillion. Who needs profits when you have valuation? So this brings us to the investment opportunity. The casino is open. The bull case, the AI dream, it's real. Robotaxis are coming. They're rolling out. The stock soars 25% to $550. Be pretty nice. The bear case, the margins are a nightmare. The forward guidance is bad. The competition relentless. The stock plummets 25%, down to 330. The options market, it's betting on big moves. History books. I mean, we're seeing some of the biggest bets on a big move higher. So what's the savvy investor do? Well, you can play the long game. Wait for the post-earnings dip. 70% likely to happen based on history. And then decide if you believe in the AI dreams, or you can play the short game. Ride the wave down for a few days, or you can just watch the fireworks from a safe distance. That's probably the best bet for you and your account. So grab the popcorn. It's going to be an interesting afternoon this evening when they report those earnings. And are we watching a car company in decline, or the birth of AI, or is it a robot company, or is it like, what is it exactly? Do we actually know? Tesla, it's a little bit of everything. And that, my friends, could make this the greatest show on earth. Remember, there's more options. Tesla has more options traded than any other single company stock ticker out there. It's the most traded company, single stock company. SPY usually beats it. QQQ usually beats it, but that's baskets. We're talking about a single stock. And Tesla options decimate everybody else. So there's lots of interesting things happening out there. Anyway, that's kind of the good, the bad, the ugly. All trading involves a substantial risk of loss. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. This presentation is intended to be informational, educational, fun, entertaining. It's not a recommendation to be buying or selling any financial instrument, including stocks, options, bonds, forex, futures, cryptos, treasuries. If you trade them, you might lose money. Be careful. I make predictions. Sometimes they come true, sometimes not. Sometimes I might lose some money. Sometimes I might get it right. Anyway, check her out over here. See if we can get the current data. Dun, 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 dun. There we go. Now it loaded it up. Look at this. Year to date. Dun, 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 dun. Hit 29,000. So if you pay attention to anybody else, do they show you how much, what they're actually doing? Sometimes you feel like a nut. Sometimes you don't. Enjoys good nuts. Mouths don't. Anyway. I'm not sure that's accurate because I don't have some of that stuff. Anyway. Trades. That's interesting. Those all came in the same day. That's weird. Anyway. That's not true. Well, I guess that was true. It expired on the 21st, maybe. Huh. Interesting. So those were options for the 20th. Right there. They actually expired at the market close, not at 12:01. And then this one expired at the market close. Like it says right there. I guess it was the outage at Robinhood or whatever caused that accounting anomaly there. I've been selling these daily puts. I talked about that last week. Or I guess I talked about it. I first talked about it the day that we got monkey hammered in the punched in the face in the market there. We dropped like 3%. Usually in the afternoon, between 1 and 2:30, I roll in and sell a 0-day option. And right now, the best premiums available on NASDAQ. It's been kind of jumping around. It was SPY for a little while. It was SPY futures or S&P 500 futures. NASDAQ futures had it for a little bit. And right now, NASDAQ cash index seems to be where it is. I usually play the 0 days and cash out. You see, cashed it out. Now I'm doing a spread on these because of the margin required. I was selling naked puts, just straight up naked put on the futures because the margin required is a pittance for whatever reason. I guess it plays into the day trade margins on futures. But for these, I need to cap the amount of money required to $5,000 per contract. Maybe like, well, that's kind of crazy. You're going to profit a small amount. Yesterday I got $80, putting up $10,000. I got $40 per contract I did. But look at when I did it. Let's grab it right here. Got in. Oh, that's funny. It says the numbers are totally wrong here. It says I got in at 6 p.m. and out at 8 p.m. But that's not accurate. That's not accurate at all. Let's actually pull over. I posted this to the... I did this in my 50K challenge account, so I posted this to my Termite Trading Lab members that follow that. Yeah, I got in at 212. And the market closes at 4, and these expire when there's 0 days. They expire at the market close. There's no like 15 minutes when you're playing these cash indexes, or this cash index. When the market closes, is done. Like, that's it. The close price is the settlement price. Now you got to be careful. You got to be careful. There are different rules that happen in here. I'll pull over this and show you what I'm talking about. Right here. These are all PM settlement. That means they settle in the afternoon. But this little guy, see there's 2 expirations on the same day? Or 2 expirations the same day. This one is special. This one stops trading on the 20th, but the settlement price doesn't happen until the next day. So be careful messing with these ones that say AM on them if you're going to play these index options. And stick to these ones that just are normal. Every one of these AM ones has a special little something going on. Be careful. They're special. But right now, the pricing hadn't started filling out. That's cool. That's cool. Let's see if I can force that to refresh here. Do a little magic. Nope. Not gonna fill out. Cool. I'll show you a little. Check this out. You can come down here. Look, this is ES right here. This is why I was. This is what got my attention in the beginning. Here's the money right here at 67.70. You come all the way down here, and there's still premium. Like 300 points down. They're doing a better job sucking it out since I've been talking about this. There used to be like 50 cents of it, like 50. Well, it wasn't 50 cents. It was half a point. You know, ES points are $50. So these are priced in points when you talk about futures. They're doing a better job now that more people like me have been pointing this out, that there's ridiculous premium available down here. It's just kind of wild. It shows up in all the different stuff too. You look at this, there's still cash flowing down here. You know, we're talking about 400 points out of the money. Now, when we come into IndieX, that seems to be where the inefficiency in the money is right now. Play those 0 days. Now we're getting the pricing. I'm rolling down here later in the afternoon. You got to watch your pricing. And right now, this is 800 points down. The touch percentage, you know, for price to come down here right now, it's 3%. But you could do something like this, 50 point wide, and collect 25 bucks. You're like, whoa, that's 25 bucks to risk 5,000. Yeah, but the risk here, and 97% chance that that price doesn't come down there. And that's right now. And it drops off really quickly. Now it's up to 30 bucks. That's like, if you're aggressive, you can get filled on these like sometimes 40, 50 bucks. Sometimes there's 100 bucks sitting there. You can just pick up. It's just inefficiency in the market. And there's people playing down here. Look, the volume's people already hitting it. So crazy. So crazy. I thought I'd point that out. It's just wild that money's out there. So, anyway, welcome to the show, everybody. So Tesla opening up right here, kind of flat. Now, we did a watermelon seed squeeze back here, and maybe this chart's a little cleaner without all the extra fib lines on it. We did this watermelon seed squeeze back here for a couple months, and we popped out, and we went right to the target, which the mouth right there, that's that right there, and that's usually the first place we stop, which we stopped. So this is very, so far, check plus. That's right on with what I would have expected. Now, the next thing, if we get a continuation of this watermelon seed squeeze pattern, usually off the low that we get off the consolidation, we will do the same move again. You're like, well, can you demonstrate this on some other chart? Sure. Lucky what I got. Moving alerts. Cool. This one did a watermelon seed squeeze. Now, different setup because we ramped into it. Watermelon seed squeezed. Right there. That took from 2022 to well into 2023. Then we popped and we broke out. We did the same spike that we saw on Tesla. Same kind of pullback. We're currently kind of in the midst of on Tesla. And then we ramped up and did it again. And now we've probably run out of juice on Costco. So we can recharge and refresh and you know, it's possible it's doing another watermelon seed squeeze and we're going to do it all over again. So it's a pattern that happens. We'll see if we can play it out. If it plays out, that's right up to 550, 560, which is when you zoom out and look at the bigger target or bigger pattern here. Go back to a clean chart once again. When you come back here and look at the high and the low of this weekly chart bounce pattern, we did activate the entry here on the weekly. It was this candle right here that did it. That one activated the entry. The target is 550. It's 75% likely to happen. 530, 550. So probably not clicked right on the exact fib. Yeah. Let's see if we can get that snapped on there. Should be snapping on there. And make sure, oh, log mode. That's the trick. There we go. 550. That puts the target right there. That watermelon seed squeeze. That breakout. Had that same thing that Costco had. It's just on a smaller time frame. It's on a daily chart instead of the weekly chart. And there's the target. Now, can it do like our buddy Netflix and just completely flush the toilet? Absolutely. Absolutely. You betcha. Here's the lower low. Now, is that complete? On Netflix. Or was this a 1-2? Now look at that. The caution here, that was a 1, 2, 3. Slightly higher high. Now we got continuation lower. One, you know, is this an A, B, oops, B, and this be a C? Or is this a 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 of a deeper go on Netflix? That's the big question that I don't necessarily have the answer to right at the moment. So if Netflix continues down here, then we bounce. We can see this get continuation lower, as long as we stayed under that level. And right now, we're in the vicinity of A, B, that would be the C. And this could be finished up on Netflix right there. Never know until we get the reversal. This looked good for a reversal, but when you ran the fib from this high right up here to this low right down here, the 618 was sitting right there, and we had not crossed above it. That was a cautionary tale that we might get the result we got. So be careful out there. There's no, like, earnings is kind of like a gamble. It really is. It's like the excuse a lot of these stocks use to make a big move. Now, S&P 500, let's jump in here. Kind of look at where we're at, so to speak. That's choppy hot mess of stuff right there. And that move up right here, a deep retrace. You say it's a double bottom, but then we came right back down in the junk, tried to come up and made a lower high, then made a lower low. Then that all overlapped that, and now it's a hot mess of garbage. Hot mess of garbage price action. That looks corrective. Quite honestly, it looks like that move was some sort of A wave, this move, some sort of B wave. And now we're getting a little bit of impulsiveness, and it could take us to a higher high of some sort of C wave. That's from my zoomed out perspective right here. That looks like some sort of corrective price action. Now, the thing about that, if it's a leading diagonal or an ending diagonal or some sort of diagonal, typically these get 80%, 88% retraces when they complete. And then we turn higher if we're going to keep going. Or if we break down, that could mark the top for a little while, maybe a long while. Now we're seeing some other markets do things I warned about. This baby is finally getting a bigger correction. Almost 10% down so far. And that's a overused term, drop in the bucket compared to what we can do because of how far we came up. Very easily, we can come back and retest the breakout. It's 20% down. And 20% is nothing, fib-wise. Just want to point out, the last major correction on gold was back here. Took a long time. One, two, three, four. Extended 5. This party can be over. 618 retrace. And we've hit 2.272 is a crazy extension on this thing. Silver is hanging out right down. Like when you look at the silver chart, silver is still hanging out right down here. It hasn't done this part yet. That's why I say silver has the chance to catch up. But if the whole move's done, maybe silver never came to the party. Showed up late. Party's already over. Drinks have already been had. If this does a 50% retrace, this is the kind of move we're talking about. 2138 and 1800 for 618. And you may be like, there is no possible way that gold is going to do that. Just be careful. I have this knack of being right about things. Might be why you hit the subscribe button. So be careful out there, everybody. See what you think. Will gold get that bigger retrace? I'm not just talking about right now. I mean, it could be in the next few weeks, few months, few years, maybe in the 2030s. So there you go. The chat is amazingly quiet. Hopefully y'all are still there. And let's dive into NQ, pushing levels. I mean, we back tested that level right here. I'm just taking off all the extra lines here for a minute. We've kind of back tested that. And we have the potential to push this on up to 1618. Right there. If we do that, it's going to be a little crazy. We have that same sort of potential here cooking on ES. Came up here, kind of back tested, and we have that same potential to push it on up here. That'd be above 7. I said for quite a bit that I expected below 4 before we go above 7, but that could be above 7. I could have gotten that wrong slightly. Russell still needs to catch up. It's like the silver of the indexes. 2600. Oil. Still needs the flush. People see this as a buying opportunity, but I would be careful. This still needs that flush. I've had this on the chart for a couple years. This target. It was a very big watermelon seed squeeze play. When we broke down, we needed to go down here, or we were going to break up and go higher. And haven't really done either yet. Just keep. This was a bigger volatile swing, but we just keep grinding lower. And at the drop speed, could be next summer before we actually get this flush down here. We can see some more volatile price action before we actually get that target right there. So I don't feel like oil has any kind of big opportunity cooking right at the moment. Gold we talked about, that's a long way down, everybody. Be careful. The biggest thing here, oh yeah, even on the weekly chart, we were poking out to the 3rd standard deviation. Whew. We were 7 days out on gold on the 3 standard deviations. We were 3 days out here and we took a 5-month breather. If that thing pulled back just to there, it'd be pretty devastating for a lot of people, I feel like. Maybe a 20% pullback. Maybe like nothing. Just back to the daily roadmap line. And back to the top of this consolidation, this breakout test. We could easily do that. Find support there, go higher, and then come back for the bigger retrace. Bitcoin still being soft. It looked like yesterday we were going to get some nice boom action going, but then everything turned sour grapes. Got that low, got that high. So this is the level we're interested in right here. If we can maintain above that, essentially that low we've got right here. If we can maintain above it, break back above that high at 114, probably going on up. But if we get below this low, back down in here, get near 100, starting to look like a real possibility. Now this is a bounce from the bottom of the roadmap line on the daily chart. Continuation is down here. Be careful. Get long a lot of crypto at the moment. This is a downtrend. We haven't snapped out of it. We haven't broken out of it. We have Ethereum that has made a move up, made a retrace to a higher low, held the 618, moved up, retraced in a smaller move. Similar pattern. If we can break back above that level and get through the downtrend, this can go up in a big way, but we got to do that. We got to quit being soft and quit eroding price. If we get back down in here, we're probably going to make a new lower low, lower than that one we made a couple weeks ago on the 9th, 10th, right there. NKD still grinding at the highs. We'll turn this off. Still grinding at those highs. We might be able to push it on up to the next fib line here. We got to the 49,000 for a long time. I said 49.50. That might be where the party ends on global liquidity. We're in the vicinity. Still looks like the music's playing, but it's time to start being cautious. Oh, that was cool. I don't even know how it flipped it. There we go. Time to start being cautious here. We're in the zone where we can top. It could come on up here. Could. But this is the point. For a long time, I talked about that 49.50. I mean, started talking about that back here last summer. I was talking about it, right? Bounce. We didn't get the bounce. We made a lower low. And then we came ripping right back up. Be careful. Cracks in the foundation here. Now that new prime minister for Japan just took office, or is taking office, so we can see Japan ramping up the money printer. The party can get, party on Wayne, party on Garth. This did break above, it back tested, we popped up, hit the roadmap line, bounced down, retested that breakout, if you will. Got a little deep for my liking, but coming back up for another test. We can punch through. Want to see it kind of do that and keep going higher. If it's going to turn down off of here, that's the support right there. And when we get below it, more than likely we're going to make a lower low than that low right back over there. Hopefully that's clear as mud. So that's the price action though. Like, do I know exactly what's going to happen right now? More than likely, we're going to retest this. If we can punch through, it should do something like that. Then if we break through and go higher, once we get above 102, it'll probably kick in a squeeze. Since short dollar is a major trade, and 102 is going to put the screws to that. Now, if we glance off here, That prior low is the support. And when that fails, if that fails, sure, we have that one right there. But then it just tips the odds once we get below this right here, this level. It just tips the odds that we're going to see a lower low than this. If we do that, if we glance off and come down. So that's the path right now. And it could just, those are the most likely things to happen, most probable for the dollar. But if things get crazy, you could just do this and just smear up all the price action and make it all nasty and confuse everybody. So Apple dumpling. We're still holding on to the C proportion here. If this were to flush back down here after doing this, if this flushes back down and gets below that, it's probably going to make a lower low than this baby right back here. This is concerning. Like, it really is. Like, if that breaks back down below that, you could almost short this for a big correction. If we bounced at 230, I'd be out, but this could be a longer term. We could be talking about a months long big correction on Apple. You can play it with something like AAPD, or I think it's AAPD. And short Apple. Let's see what happened back here with them. But it's not time yet. You got to wait for it to break back down. Amazon hanging on to that roadmap line really tight, but that's still making lower highs. As long as we stay under that down pressure, get below that low, it's the first indication we might have a bigger, longer downtrend cooking here. Google struggling to reach up. If we hit this 263 target, I can mark the top on Google for a bit. We may come back down and retest the breakouts. Been talking about that for a little while. Meta. So far, so good. 1, 2, 3. ABC. Right into the roadmap line. Right there, it touched. Moved up, retraced, held a higher low. Breaking through that prior high. This is looking good. We need continuation signs. We need above 753. You come on up to 812, 827, maybe even 840 on that continuation. So far, so good. Unclear, but so far, so good. We get above the 618, that kicks off to 85 or 75% likely we get to 812. Right there. Microsoft. As long as we're underneath that high, still have down pressure. Get above that high. Starts looking like we might go hit the 565 target that we came shy of back here on the last earnings. And this may wait till earnings to make its move. So this could do, with this setup right here and the inability to get through that, if we're still there, hanging there on earnings, it might be the Netflix situation where we get that big drop. NVIDIA. And we're just hanging in here. This would look really, it would clear up a lot if we did this and retested that kind of breakout zone. But we may just drift on in here. Now, NVIDIA's earnings won't happen till about Thanksgiving time. Tesla, earnings today. Bias for the pop, but cautious for the drop. Roadmap line sitting down here at 350. We could very easily go retest that. That was kind of the breakout level. When Elon announced he bought $2 billion worth of shares, and we launched off, came right up to that. Funny enough, we did this watermelon C-squeeze, and we stopped right at the proportion of that. It's possible we get a bigger, deeper retrace, and it may just happen fast. So I'm biased long, but I might get taught a lesson not to play earnings. Learned it before. Netflix still showing weakness. If we can hold it here, great. If we don't, here's the potential. And this could be a 1, 2, 3, 4, and we could see a bigger down to possibly 970. All right, I go pull gainers and look for opportunities in here. I go, that's pre-market gainers, then pre-market decliners. Texas Instruments right in the zone. Had this on the chart for a couple months. We pretty much nailed it. Nailed that target. So the thing to watch from here, a bounce up, get through the roadmap line, back test it, turn up through the 618, which is not accurate because it's only on the first move. Didn't move much. Get through that 618 level, back through that prior high. That sets us up for continuation higher. Same kind of patterns all the time. So if anything's helpful, beneficial, make sure you give me a like on it. Let me know. Looks like 83% believe that we'll get a bigger retrace. 17% thinking it's not. Fade me, I dare you. I'm off gold right now, like for the most part. I have no exposure to gold long. I do have a short that I doubled down on a couple days back. Doubled down on a GLL. Yeah, 2 days back, doubled down, and well, almost back to scratch on that one. There are 29 setups today, so I'm just going to skip over to that part since there's 29 of them, and that's a bunch. Let's rip through these real quick. This is looking for my signature pattern, which is the roadmap bounce pattern on the daily charts. These are set up for the daily entry. We'll pull up the statistics here for those that might like to know. 29, that's a big day. The average is 4 a day, so 29 is a big day for the pattern. 69 is the target for BC. BL. This one's already in it from back here, but it did another bounce. And 57. And then that bounce and the target up there. CLBK. A lot of these have been chopping. I'm not a fan of the chop. This one's in it from back here, so it won't fire off again. 16 is the target. ESI. There's the high, here's the low. Grab the zoom. There you go. Target 2780. High, low. Entry was right there. Pulling back today. So there you go. You can see the statistics down the bottom. When we have less than 30, it doesn't mean anything. I've kind of beat on that horse a lot lately. This one has no history, it looks like. There's the high, there's the low, and we're almost to the ridiculous target. That can't be the right ticker. It's not. Here's the right ticker. And 103, 104 be the target right there. 45 trades, 91. This was a smoking hot, holy fudge muffins. 45. Check plus. 91 is like a check plus plus. And a profit factor of 9 is like a check plus plus plus. Whew. Maybe one of the best ones out there. This one tends to do a trend pullback continuation. 91% of the time, it gets the continuation. See, the last time we had this set up was back over here. Here we are cooking on this one. HBCP, this was in it from back here. We did a secondary bounce. 58.67 target, HIFS. This one fires off a lot. Whew. Tends to be okay. I mean, this one's just choppy, but it tends to actually hit the targets. Here's the high, here's the low. And looking for that 310 on the upside. This one, very small little bounce. Targeted 100. IJH didn't actually hit. IJJ. There's the high. Here's the low. There's the entry, 133.95. Just a real average. We're getting lots of average tickers in here. This one bounces quite often lately. Here's the high. Here's the low. Entry, 23 target. Oh, look at that one too. 90%, 3.3. Good stuff right here. Check plus plus. And check plus plus here. That one might be a good one. Like this one and whatever the other one was. Good stuff. FRT. Good stuff right there. KRG. There's the high. Here's the low. This is already in it from back here. Looking for 2370 on this bounce. Marriott. Got in it from way back here. Still hadn't played out. I'm cautioned that this was bearish still. I played a bearish play, but it decided to just mess around in here and not actually drop out. It still has the pattern to drop out. Be careful. Initial move down, retrace, and potential to fail. Doesn't mean that this pattern won't work out inside here, but be careful. So the current little bounce would put it target, basically it touched that target there already. So that one may be already played. I'd be careful. MNDY, or MDY, excuse me, not MNDY. Didn't actually hit the roadmap line on that chart. Here's the high, here's the low, there's the trade, and $2. Be careful, low price stuff. MODG. Here's the high, here's the low, there's 1026. We're almost to the target. Be careful. OYH, oil, services. Here's the high, here's the low, trending up, 274. OSBC. This one was in it from back here with a target and hadn't played out yet. Did a lower inside move, and 19 would be the target on that one. PCAR. This one's shown up a few times. There's the entry. 105 is the target. POD. PODD. Here's the high. Here's the low. There's the entry. And 362 target. PVH. Here's the high. Here's the low. Here's the entry. 91.57. Stop is $1 below the low, in case anybody's wondering. That one didn't touch. I have a Python tool that looks for these, and the way Python calculates and the way TradingView calculates EMAs is slightly different. 34.57 potential target. Short VIX. Here's the high, here's the low, there's the entry, 22.52. SYF didn't hit. TKR. That stopped out recently. Be careful. Got the high. We got the low. There's the entry. 80.70 target. VBR. Didn't touch. VFC. There's the high. Here's the low. And 15.95. Really close to the target already. And this one bounced back here. And we're bouncing again. Inside pattern. 25.83. And that's the list. Bias for the day, I'd be cautious. We'll probably get some fireworks after the market closes. Does it push us higher? Does it push us lower? I don't know. We'll see. I'll be live at 11:30 on Market Masters. Jack and I will break down more trades. We'll probably talk a bunch more about Tesla. See where we're going. Have a great day, everybody. We'll be back. I'll be back tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you hit the bell for notifications. And